Welcome to the Spec Designs podcast.
Glad to be here.
So imagine this scenario for a second. You end up losing a $10,000 client.
Oh, that's rough. Just completely brutal.
Right. But here's the kicker. You don't lose them because your competitor offers a better service.
Okay.
And it's not because your pricing is off either. You lose them simply because the header font on your website makes you look like you went out of business in, 2014.
Yeah, that happens way more often than you'd think.
It's just a fascinating and honestly a somewhat terrifying phenomenon. I mean, you can have a small business that provides absolutely incredible service, top-tier products, glowing word-of-mouth recommendations. But the minute you look them up online...
You just physically cringe.
Yes. You physically
yeah.
cringe. It is like they're trapped in a digital time capsule.
It really is. And, that disconnect between the actual operational quality of the business and its digital representation, it creates this massive friction. Customers notice it instantly. I mean, they might not be graphic designers, right? They might not be able to articulate exactly what feels off.
Like they can't point and say, oh, the kerning is bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But their brain registers a lack of polish. And that instantly translates into a lack of trust.
Which is exactly what we are unpacking today. We are looking at a really compelling blog from Spec Designs that tackles this exact problem head on.
It's a great piece.
The mission for us today is to give you, the listener, a highly practical, actionable blueprint for modernizing your business's visuals, your messaging, and your overall visibility.
A roadmap, essentially.
Right. And we are going to explore how you can make these high-impact changes gradually. We are proving that you do not need some massive corporate-level budget or a scorched earth strategy to look polished and professional today.
Which I think is such a critical distinction to establish right out of the gate.
Oh, for sure.
Because when small business owners hear the word branding or rebrand, they immediately picture, massive agency fees.
Oh, yeah. Endless focus groups.
Endless focus groups. And tossing everything they've built over the last decade right out the window.
Just starting from absolute scratch.
Right. But what this blog so brilliantly points out is that a brand refresh is really about alignment and consistency.
Yeah.
It is a calibration exercise.
Yeah.
It's not just about adopting pretty pictures or chasing whatever design trend is currently popular on social media.
I think that framework makes this so much more accessible, just calling it a calibration exercise. But before we get into fixing the aesthetics or tweaking the copy, you have to actually know what is fundamentally broken.
You need a baseline.
Exactly. The logical first step in any refresh, and the blog frames this perfectly, by the way, is stepping completely outside your own operational bubble. You have to look at your brand through the eyes of a first-time visitor.
Which is incredibly hard to do.
It is, and I was thinking about the psychology of this.
Yeah.
It is essentially like looking at the rug in your own living room.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Because, think about it, you live there 24/7. You walk across it every single day.
So your brain literally stops registering the stains.
Exactly. You just walk right over them because they've become part of your accepted environment.
That is a highly accurate way to look at it. In cognitive psychology, it is actually called sensory adaptation. But in a business context, we can just call it operational blindness.
Operational blindness. I like that.
Because you know your business so intimately. You know your team's capabilities, you know your internal processes, and you know the quality of your outcomes.
Right. You know you do good work.
So when you look at your own marketing materials, your brain automatically fills in the gaps. You subconsciously project your competence onto a poorly designed homepage.
Wow. Yeah. That makes total sense.
But a first-time visitor doesn't have that internal context. They're entirely reliant on the external signals you provide.
They only see what's on the screen.
Exactly. They're judging your competence entirely on exactly what is presented to them in that split second.
But let's play that out practically. Because how does a business owner actually step out of that operational blindness?
It takes effort.
It's incredibly difficult to just turn off your own bias. How do you get that objective perspective when you are just so deeply entrenched in the work every single day?
Well, you have to replace subjective feeling with a systematic rubric.
Okay, a rubric.
Yeah, the blog outlines a very targeted audit process across every single customer touchpoint. The governing rule here is that every touchpoint must communicate the exact same personality and the exact same promise.
No exceptions.
No exceptions. So you don't just vaguely look at your website. You sit down and audit the homepage. Then you audit the individual service pages. Then your social profiles. The blog even specifically mentions checking your email signature. which is a brilliant micro touch point.
The email signature is such a great example of a forgotten asset. I mean, you and your team are sending hundreds, maybe thousands of these a week.
And it might still have a broken link to a Google Plus page from 8 years ago.
Oh my gosh, yes. Or an outdated fax number.
Precisely. And what you are systematically hunting for during this audit are the disconnects. Like, does the playful, casual tone on your Facebook page match the rigid, hyper-professional tone on your website?
Usually the answer is no.
Right. Do the visuals look cohesive across all platforms?
Yeah.
But even deeper than the visuals, you are auditing the messaging. Because businesses naturally evolve.
Yeah, they do.
If your services have shifted over the last 3 years, if your expertise has deepened, or if your target audience has fundamentally changed, your copy absolutely needs to reflect that reality.
That is a trap so many service businesses fall into. I've seen companies that completely pivoted their core offering over the last few years to adapt to the market.
But their website hasn't caught up.
Exactly. Their website is still entirely geared towards selling the service they offered 5 years ago.
And that creates massive cognitive dissonance for the user. According to the blog, the ultimate litmus test during this audit is that every single asset must answer one crucial question for the customer.
Which is?
Why should someone choose your business today?
Today. Not generally, but today.
Not yesterday, not broadly speaking, but today. If your messaging is disconnected from your actual current operations, or if you consistently get the sense that customers are confused about what exactly it is you offer when they call you PIVA.
Oh, that's the worst, when they call and ask if you do the thing you stopped doing 2 years ago.
Exactly. That is the glaring neon indicator that you need a messaging refresh.
Okay, so let's unpack the execution of this.
Yeah.
Let's assume you've done this rigorous audit and the stains on the rug are suddenly very, very visible.
You see all of them now.
You have a decent list of things that need fixing. But our mission today is providing a blueprint that doesn't break the bank. You have to decide where to spend your limited budget and your limited time.
Because you can't do it all at once.
Right. Not all changes are created equal. The blog breaks this down into an incredibly useful update matrix, specifically comparing the financial cost versus the potential business impact.
The prioritization matrix is where this blog elevates from offering just good design advice to providing a true strategic playbook.
I totally agree.
Because human instinct tells most people to tackle the biggest, most emotionally satisfying thing first, regardless of the actual return on investment.
Of course.
But to stretch a small business budget, you have to operate surgically.
Okay, I want to play devil's advocate here on one specific point, though, because I think it pushes back on conventional wisdom.
Right, let's hear it.
When most people hear the phrase brand refresh, number one on their list is usually a new logo.
Oh, always.
People are obsessed with their logos, right? It's highly emotional for them. But this blog puts a logo update at only a moderate impact for a medium cost.
Okay.
It explicitly states that a brand refresh does not always require a new logo, and that consistency is the goal. But, I mean, if my logo looks like it was made in a basic paint program in 1998,
Right.
doesn't that instantly kill trust before they even read my brilliant website copy? Why put the logo in the moderate impact category?
That is a fair challenge.
Yeah.
Look, if a logo is actively repelling people because it is fundamentally illegible or wildly inappropriate for your industry, then yes, it requires immediate triage.
It's an emergency.
But that is the exception, not the rule. For the vast majority of businesses, the logo is simply an identifier. It's the flag on the ship.
Okay.
What the blog is arguing is a matter of utility versus aesthetics. A new, beautiful logo might make you feel great as an owner, but it rarely gives the customer new, actionable information about how you can solve their problem.
That is a really good point. It doesn't actually tell them what you do.
Furthermore, we have to look at the hidden costs. Changing a logo is a logistical nightmare for a physical business.
Well, that is true. It is never just the cost of the graphic designer.
No, not at all.
You were talking about updating every staff uniform, every truck decal, the signage on your building,
Every printed brochure.
every single digital banner. The ripple effect of a logo change completely consumes a small budget.
Exactly. Now, contrast that massive expense with what the blog categorizes as a low-cost, high-impact move.
Which is?
Refreshing your website copy, specifically your headlines.
Okay, words over pictures.
Yes. The blog stresses that you should rewrite headlines so they focus relentlessly on customer benefits. When a user lands on your site, they aren't spending time admiring your logo.
They aren't staring at the little icon in the corner.
No, they are scanning the page asking, Can this company solve my specific problem right now?
So it's about confirming competence rather than just confirming identity.
Precisely. Let's look at the mechanics of conversion here. A static headline that says, "Welcome to Smith Plumbing Solutions," next to a brand new, expensive logo.
It does
It
nothing.
does very little to drive action. But an older logo next to a completely rewritten, highly targeted headline that says, "We fix your plumbing emergencies in under an hour."
Oh, I'm calling that number immediately.
Right. It does infinitely more to drive a phone call.
Really?
Shifting your words to focus on the customer's benefit is classified as low cost because you are just changing text.
But the impact on your conversion rate and therefore your revenue can be massive.
Exactly.
That reframes the entire budget model. You are trading a purely aesthetic shift for a direct conversion shift.
It's just smart business.
All right, looking back at this matrix from the blog, another category that stands out is photography.
Yes. Visual assets.
The blog lists improving photography as a low to medium cost but a high impact move. And we know humans are highly visual creatures, right? Those images play a major role in how customers judge professionalism.
Massive role.
But mechanically, how do you execute a visual refresh without hiring an expensive professional crew and shutting down your operations for a massive, costly photo shoot?
This is where the practical advice in the blog gets highly innovative. It leverages modern tools. The traditional expensive thinking is that if your photos look slightly dated or inconsistent, you have to throw the entire library out and start from scratch.
Right, you assume you need a whole new shoot.
You either have to buy a completely new suite of stock imagery, which runs the risk of looking fake and generic, or you hire that expensive crew.
And both of those options cost a lot of money.
But the blog argues you don't need to do either of those things.
It actually reminds me of a tailoring approach.
How do you mean?
Like, this approach isn't about throwing out your closet and buying a brand new bespoke wardrobe. It's taking your favorite high-quality old suit to the tailor, bringing in the seams, updating the buttons, and making it look sharp and modern again. You are working with the assets you already have.
That is the perfect way to conceptualize it. You start by systematically enhancing the images you already own. We are talking about basic but powerful post-production.
Like color correction.
Improving the lighting, sharpening the details, and correcting the color balance so that every image across your website feels cohesive. Just standardizing the visual language and increasing the overall image resolution can create a dramatically more polished appearance.
And the blog mentions a really specific cutting-edge way to do this if you need a fresh creative direction but lack the budget for a new shoot.
Oh, yeah?
It explicitly suggests using AI tools, specifically Adobe Firefly and its image-to-image generator.
Which is a complete game changer for small business budgets. It shifts the cost from production to curation.
But let me press on that for a second, because the integration of AI in branding is a delicate balance.
It can be tricky.
When most people hear AI-generated imagery, there is an immediate justified fear that it's going to look soulless, plastic, or exactly like generic stock photography with weird artifacts, like people with 6 fingers.
Right, the uncanny valley effect.
Exactly. How does using an image-to-image generator, as the blog suggests, keep the brand feeling genuine and authentic to the actual business operations?
It is a critical concern. The key distinction here lies in the specific technology the blog recommends. Image-to-image generation as opposed to text-to-image generation.
Okay, break that down for me.
You aren't just typing a random text prompt into the void and getting a mathematically averaged generic hallucination back.
So you aren't just typing, make a picture of a plumber.
Exactly. You are providing the AI with your existing image. A real photograph of your actual storefront, your real employees, or a project you actually completed. You use that as the strict foundational reference.
Ah, so you are essentially anchoring the artificial intelligence to your physical reality.
Exactly. The AI uses your real photo as the structural base. It maps the geometry and the subject matter. Then, you use written prompts to explore new visual variations of that specific reality.
So what does that look like in practice?
For instance, you could take a photo of your service fan that was taken on a gloomy, overcast day. You feed that into the tool and prompt it to adjust the environment to a bright, sunny afternoon.
Oh, wow.
Or you can take a product shot and slightly stylize the background to match your newly refreshed brand color palette. It preserves the core, authentic elements of your original imagery while giving you the flexibility to modernize the lighting, the style, and the context.
That is fascinating. It is essentially like having a world-class photo retoucher and art director running locally on your laptop.
Exactly.
It allows you to stretch a small, aging asset library infinitely without losing the soul of the business.
And you are doing it for a fraction of the cost of a medium to large scale commercial photo shoot. It perfectly exemplifies the low to medium cost, high impact methodology the blog advocates for.
All right, so let's synthesize where we are. You have completed the objective audit.
Check.
You have rewritten your headlines to focus entirely on customer benefits, turning your copy into a conversion engine.
Check.
You have tailored your visual suit, utilizing smart photo enhancement and AI tools to modernize your assets. Your brand is looking incredibly sharp, and your messaging is dialed in perfectly.
You are ready for the market.
But here is the harsh reality we have to address. A visually sharp, beautifully written brand is completely useless if the storefront is hidden down a dark digital alley where no one can find it.
It is the classic dilemma of a tree falling in an empty forest.
Ex-
The best branding in the world yields zero return on investment if there is no traffic.
And this is where the blog takes a turn that I found really compelling. It seamlessly pairs the visual refresh with an online visibility refresh. It brings in SEO, search engine optimization.
Yes.
Now, usually we treat local SEO strictly as a bottom-of-the-funnel acquisition channel, a purely technical marketing silo separate from branding. But looking at this blog, they're reframing things like the Google Map Pack as top-of-funnel brand building.
Which is completely accurate.
Why is SEO categorized in this blog specifically as part of a brand refresh?
Because the blog correctly identifies that discovery is the very first brand touchpoint. We tend to think a customer's first impression happens when they load the homepage or walk through the front door.
Right, when they actually interact with your stuff.
But in reality, customers discover your business through search engines long before they ever reach your own properties. The search results page itself is their first impression of your brand.
It's the digital storefront. It's the modern equivalent of driving past the shop window.
If you aren't visible on that main street, your brand simply does not exist in their consideration set.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's say I have a burst pipe. If a customer has an emergency at 5 o'clock,
Panic time.
total panic, and they search for a service in their specific zip code, your newly refreshed brand needs to be the very first thing they see.
Precisely. Visibility is the absolute foundation of brand recognition. Think about the cognitive psychology of a user performing a search. In that scenario, searching in a specific zip code at 5 o'clock, they're in a state of extremely high intent.
They need help right now.
If your business appears at the absolute top of the local map pack, properly optimized, with consistent messaging and high-quality imagery, that placement instantly communicates authority and credibility to the user.
Before they've even read your website.
Yes, that establishment of trust is a branding victory, not just a technical SEO victory.
You are establishing market dominance and trust before they even click the link to read your benefit-driven headline. You're layering these touch points perfectly.
Yes. The blog notes that better SEO fundamentally helps more qualified customers discover your business while simultaneously reinforcing your credibility online.
It's a win-win.
This is why Spec Designs focuses so heavily on this holistic approach for service-based businesses. They understand that design without distribution is a vanity project.
Oh, that's a great phrase. Design without distribution is a vanity project.
So they don't just design a beautiful site. They actively help improve the website content, they strengthen the on-page SEO structure, and critically, they optimize Google Business Profile listings to target high-value local keywords.
And that keyword targeting is essential because it's not just about chasing random vanity traffic, is it? It is about aligning the brand with intent.
Exactly. It's about building sustainable, organic visibility that targets people actively looking for the exact solutions you provide. You don't want a million random global visitors to your local service page.
No, that doesn't help you pay the bills.
You want the 100 people in your specific area who need your service today. When your newly refreshed, benefit-driven messaging perfectly aligns with the exact terms people are searching for, the conversion rate skyrockets.
Right.
That is why SEO is arguably one of the smartest long-term financial investments for a brand refresh. It ensures the shiny, newly tailored engine actually has the high-octane fuel it needs to run.
It is the silent brand ambassador working 24/7 to validate your competence.
24/7.
Well, this has been an incredibly practical and, frankly, empowering roadmap. We started with the necessity of getting objective, using that first-time visitor audit to ruthlessly check your messaging against reality.
Finding the stains on the rug.
Finding the stains on the rug. We utilize the update matrix to prioritize high-impact, low-cost updates, proving that our highly targeted new headline almost always beats an expensive new logo.
Every time.
We explored how to use AI tools like Adobe Firefly to intelligently enhance and curate the visual assets you already have without losing your authenticity. And we anchored all of that aesthetic work by recognizing that local SEO is the foundational top-of-funnel step of modern brand recognition.
The entire philosophy here is about building momentum through gradual strategic shifts.
Not burning it all down.
Right. The blog summarizes this beautifully. You absolutely do not need overwhelming, operation-halting, expensive overhauls to modernize.
You just need a plan.
You update the visuals and the messaging in tandem, you improve the user experience systematically, and you refresh those local listings to capture intent. These small, highly practical improvements, carefully chosen to fit a tight budget, fundamentally reshape how customers perceive and interact with your business over time.
It makes the entire concept of a brand refresh feel incredibly doable. You do not have to boil the ocean to see a massive return. But before we wrap up our analysis of this blog, I know you always like to leave us with something to chew on. What is the final provocative thought you want to leave the listener with today, based on this blueprint?
Well, we have spent this entire discussion focusing on the concept of alignment.
Right.
So I want you to perform a micro-audit the minute you finish listening to this.
Okay, a micro audit.
Take a look at your own digital footprint right now. Find your oldest active social media post,
Oh boy.
the one still sitting public on your profile from 3, 4, or maybe 5 years ago. Now put it side by side on your screen with your newest, most recently updated website page.
I can feel the anxiety already.
Look at the tone, look at the visual quality, look at the promise being made. If a prospective customer looked at those two assets side by side, would they even realize it's the exact same company?
Wow.
If there is friction between those two touch points, you know exactly where your refresh needs to begin.
That is a fantastic and, as always, slightly terrifying question to ask yourself. That is the perfect, actionable audit test to run this afternoon. Thank you for listening to the Spec Designs podcast. Please follow and subscribe and contact Spec Designs with any questions or blog topics that you want to know more about.